You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Dom Salvia Show. And now, here's your host, Dom Salvia.
And thank you for listening to the Dom Salvia Show. You can be a part anytime of this fine program. 855-752-4842. Just working hard on the board, on the sound, on the tunes. And I'm jazzed as hell. Got a big show for you, introducing a new friend at 5 o'clock today, Mark Becker. He's the host of Civic Media's Rational Revolution, playing out on Saturdays, 2 to 3 p.m., and, of course, our friend Maggie Dawn from the Maggie Dawn Show, staying over for a little overtime with me here on Tuesdays. You can check her show preceding this fine program, 2 to 4 p.m. Maggie, welcome back.
Hey, Dom. Great to be here.
It's always a pleasure. You know, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I heard you talking about Eric Hovde. And I and all the news today and last several days, man, this guy is percolating to the top for terrible dumbass comments, and I think we need to continue along this path. The quote that was played out, and I think you may have played it, but I'm going to play it again for our audience. I think it's very important. Propagating the lies about FEMA money being diverted. And we're going to follow this up with some Republicans' comments on this issue. If you would, please just play it for the people.
Did you see the news today? That FEMA is out of money.
No, they're not.
Doesn't have money to transfer to those people affected by the hurricane.
Didn't see that news.
Why?
Why?
Because they use the money to assist illegal immigrants. You can't make this crazy.
Getting trans operations in prison.
You can't make it up.
He totally just did.
That are in trouble or our vets, but we're going to give it to people coming into our country illegally? What kind of world are we living in today?
A liar's world.
This is what Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Senator Baldwin, who supports all this craziness, have brought on our country.
No, she doesn't.
No,
it's like we've entered into Alice in Wonderland. And what is right is wrong, and what is wrong is right. Please share this with people you know.
No,
Get
don't.
the word
Don't
out.
do that.
We have to take back our country. That's the whole reason I'm in this race. Because I couldn't sit by anymore and watch my country that I love melt down. So please,
because of liars,
get out there, work hard, spread the word.
Spread the lies.
We've got to win this election.
Spread the lies. They're like crabs. Come on, Eric Hovde, are you kidding me? This is so wrong and so it's disastrous for this country. And let me tell you why. We have another hurricane barreling down right now on Florida. I mean, of all the times to be politicizing FEMA, and you know, never mind that, you know, they some Republicans did not vote to fund FEMA here recently. Never mind the fact that, you know, a lot of Floridians are going to be impacted by the storm. Milton's what, a category? It was a category 5. Now it's a category 4. It's going to ramp back up, presumably to category 5. Maybe it will stay a 4 by the time it maybe hits Tampa with a 8 to 12 foot storm surge, which is bigger than the one that just did a lot of damage with Helene last time. So we have Eric Hovde, the senatorial candidate, out there saying these lies. But I'd like to quote to you from the Washington Post, Senator Thom Tillis. He's a Republican from North Carolina. One of the things he had to say, the last thing the victims of Helene need right now is political posturing, finger pointing, or conspiracy theories that not only hurt, that only hurt the response effort. Republican Senator Thom Tillis. I mean, add him to the list. I think we had DeSantis also saying he spoke to the president. We have the local Republicans, mayors and congressmen. What are you talking about, Eric Hovde? Can you believe this? No, I don't believe it. How are we living in a post-factual world right now?
Because Donald Trump makes lying just part of what's expected. And you can lie about anything at any time, no matter what the consequences, no no matter how many of your own supporters it hurts. And make no mistake, the two people in Wisconsin's congressional delegation that voted against increasing FEMA's disaster relief fund were none other than Senator Ron Johnson and Representative Derek Van Orton. What I suggest to you, Dom, is what we don't need for Wisconsin is another old rich guy carpetbagger senator, especially when Eric Hovde had the balls to go before the Rotary Club in Milwaukee this afternoon and propose raising the retirement age for Social Security, cutting Medicare
only
benefits.
For those under 40 years old, so what are you going to do, right? Yes, please continue. What other great ideas did Hovde...
Repealing the Inflation Reduction Act so that insurance companies can jack up prescription drug prices like that for insulin, okay, and ending the federal government's ability to negotiate over prescription drug prices under Medicare, which will make all Wisconsinites who are struggling pay more. Oh, and he wanted to mention veterans? You absolute terrible excuse of a human being, Eric Hovde. You just proposed at the Rotary meeting this afternoon that you would repeal and defund the PACT Act, which brought expanded health care benefits to tens of thousands of Wisconsin veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits overseas. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, wait, I forgot. And Eric Hovde wants to pass a $100 millionaire and billionaire tax cut extension, which is basically him saying, I want to cut my own taxes and all my rich carpetbagger buddy friends like Ron Johnson and the lot. Unbelievable.
Constituent services of myself. I am a constituent, therefore I want lower taxes. The headline from Hope Carnop over at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Senate candidate Eric Hovde circulates false Hurricane Helene claims debunked by FEMA. I mean, just add it to the list. And again, with regards to this storm, and folks, you got to feel for folks in Florida. My understanding right now, some of the reporting reported to CNN, 1,300 gas stations have run out of fuel. There's mandatory evacuations. And according to Axios, the mayor of Tampa said, if you stay, you're going to die. And this is the environment that Republicans are saying, yes, do not let a disaster go to waste. Let's gin up some lies about our competitors, even though FEMA is debunking it, even though Republicans all across the board of those who are actually having to deal with the circumstances, having to deal with the reality on the ground. They know what's happening, Maggie, and they're satisfied with the action that they're getting from the federal government. But don't tell that to Eric Hovde.
Well, Eric Hovde is a man who lacks both humility and curiosity, the two things that are required for anyone who has an ego big enough to say, I'll be your elected representative. If you don't care to actually educate yourself before you flap your gums, you don't deserve to run for dog catcher, let alone Senate. And I'm a little ticked at the Journal-Sentinel. Let me be clear. What false Hurricane Helene claims? How about this headline? Eric Hovde lies about disasters. And his something along the lines of, it's not just debunked by FEMA, contrary to claims by other Republicans. Point out the Republicans that are saying that those things are lies. Stop talking about FEMA. Yes, they're calling it lies, but it's more important for people to hear that Republican Senator Tom Tillis, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, the Republican mayors, the Republican county executives, all saying that this is a bunch of lies and that they should stop doing it because it's hurting people in their communities, in their Republican communities. But this is all of a whole, Dom. It's like, oh yeah, let's get rid of rural drop boxes, says Republican sheriff in Dodge County. That hurts Republican voters. Let's debase and lie about FEMA response and hurt Republican voters in those Republican districts in these states that have been hit. Meanwhile, as my guest later this week, Olivia Troy, I'm going to have her on Thursday, I believe, this week, who worked in the Trump White House, has said it was Donald Trump in 2018 that held up emergency disaster funding for California until he was showed that there were counties in California that voted for him. Then he released the fund.
Then he's all fine. Oh, I got people over there. Well, that's totally fine. And how long did he hold up aid for Puerto Rico, right? I mean, a long time.
Yeah, but he threw paper towels down, so that's fine.
It was jump shooting. 855-752-4842. Maggie Dawn from the Maggie Dawn Show. We'll get to the callers shortly, but I want to also throw this one out there. You talk about the headline, Eric Hovde lies, and I think it should just be Eric Hovde lies ... Because here's the other one that really just got to me. Eric Hovde said trans youths have highest rate of suicide driven by regret. Again, not true.
That's a lie.
Not true. Here was the quote on a conservative radio show from Hovde. The highest rate of suicide in our country is young people who went through a transition. They wake up and realize that this is not the cure for their underlying mental health problems, and now they're even more messed up and they commit suicide at the highest rate of any group in our country. That was the quotes. Now, what are the actual facts? Well, according to the Journal Sentinel, contrary to Hovde's claims, people ages 85 and older have the highest rate of suicide, according from data from the U.S. Center for Disease Control. That population accounts for, and I was actually shocked by this, 21% of all confirmed suicides, according to the CDC. So not the trans. Additionally, men over 25, and particularly rural men with quick access to firearms, have the highest growing rate of suicide in Wisconsin, a result of social isolation, financial stress, and job loss, among other factors. In 2021, the most recent year for complete data, nearly 200 rural men in Wisconsin died by suicide, about 1 in every 5. 2/3 of those men used firearms as their method. A quarter of the state's rural men who died by suicide had military experience. And one other population flagged by the department, girls aged 10 to 19. This is heartbreaking as well. 2021, 1,340 girls in that age group visited emergency departments across Wisconsin for self-harm related injuries with or without suicidal intent. And there's goes on to this. My point being, once again, Eric Hovde is wrong. Once again, they're trying to throw out this trans. Look at the commercials that are running right now. Oh, the trans, everything's trans. They're just so concerned. They're not worried about the truth. They're not worried about reality. They're just trying to gin up the base with whatever lie. It's not even a statistic. They're damn lies or statistics. These are just straight up damn lies.
Well, and the scariest thing is that the hate that is being spewed by the right towards transgendered individuals. You want to talk about causes of suicide? Maybe take a look in the mirror, Mr. Hovde, because what you say is disgusting, revolting, and a bunch of lies and more damn lies.
Lies, damn lies, and Eric Hovde. Maggie Dawn, our favorite here on the Civic Media Network. She's sticking around for one more segment. We'll take to some of your calls as well. 855-752-4842. Apparently, Tammy Baldwin, of course, she's the incumbent senator. She's concerned that maybe this race is a little tighter than it should be. I agree. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Want to thank my friend and colleague, Maggie Dawn. She had to scoot out. Appreciate her always sticking around and doing a little Hovde bashing with me. It's certainly deserved today. The headlines for this guy are not great. Eric Hovde calls for cutting the federal budget to 2019 levels. Eric Hovde circulates false Hurricane Helene claims debunked by FEMA. Eric Hovde makes false link between trans youth suicide and regrets. And the other one we will get to. Tammy Baldwin says race with Eric Hovde tighter than Pelosi chest. How can that possibly be?
I mean, just look at the national stage.
Come on. 855-752-4842. Let's get to some of our very patient callers. Robert from West Dallas, you're next. Welcome, sir. What do you got for us?
Hi, Dom. Congrats on the show.
Thank you.
Just a couple things. Someone said something about paper towels, and I just found that really funny because when I look at Eric Hovde, I think of the brawny paper towel guy, more like maybe a porn actor from the 70s with like a big stash.
No, the brawny
but,
man. He's totally brawny, man. That is great comparison.
But a couple of things were missed. One, he's worried about immigrants, but if I'm correct, I think his bank was investigated because there was potential money laundering for Mexican drug cartels. I don't know if that investigation is over or still going on.
Well, the reporting, if I recall, Robert, was his bank, Sunbank, whatever his bank is in California, was doing business with one of these Bank Azteca or something like that in Mexico that had been accused of doing business with, the cartels. And part of they were repatriating the cash, man, like literally, pallets of cash, like $20 million in several flights coming in. But
everyone knows that the most legal way to transport money is cash on an airplane.
Yeah. Cash, baby. Cash is king. But don't you worry about it, Robert. We've heard from Eric Hovde that all the proper processes are in place to make sure that this is all on the up and up. And I'm sure none of it fell off the truck.
Yeah. And my other personal favorite is, he thinks people in a nursing home or hospice, they shouldn't vote because they're going to die soon. So I want someone to ask Brian Steele, I think that's his last name. He keeps running the ads with his 100-year-old grandma, what he thinks of Eric Hovde thinking she shouldn't vote at her age. I really want to see that soundbite.
Great point. Yeah, Congressman Brian Steele running. Yeah, that's a good point. Someone should ask him that. Hey, but maybe because his 100-year-old grandma's, not in the nursing home, she's okay. It's only those nursing home folks that are, on the verge of death that, are so close to it and, so hallucinating and non-lucid that they should just not be able to vote, according to Eric Hovde. I mean, I honestly, let's remember, and I don't know how anyone could accept this, but this guy rolled out his senatorial campaign ad without even mentioning the state of Wisconsin.
What state is he running for? I mean, it gets really confusing when you live in one place and you're trying to get elected in another.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I'm running for Senate. For where? For what? And for what purpose? Because you're a rich guy and you want tax cuts? I mean,
he's thing to do.
He's literally just doing all the platitudes of every cardboard cutout Republican policy. But nowadays, though, it's more mega because he's peddling in the lies. This is part of it now. It's beyond just, little fibs here and there. It's a legitimate, full-on strategy for the megas to try to just, I don't know, lie their way into office. I mean, it's beyond the pale. 855-752-4842. Keith from Middleton, you'll be next. Welcome, Keith. What do you got for us?
Hey, Dom. I listen to Maggie a lot, and I love Maggie. And she did make a couple of comments about Roy Hovde there being ignorant or stupid. I don't think there's a dumb bone in his body. I think he's just an evil SOB, quite honestly. And there is, I don't know, you and I talked briefly yesterday about how we reach these people who are in MAGAs.
Yeah.
How do we stop these blatant lies? I mean, how is it that we can't fact check and get people to understand that's a blatant, flat out lie? And 90% of what Trump says is lies too.
Yeah.
And seriously.
No, I know. That's why he's not doing the 60 Minutes, Keith. And we'll get to Vice President Harris
brutal.
Actually did it because they would light his ass up because they don't play those games.
But what do we have to do to get our people in the you guys in the radio, TV, newsprint, start calling them out every single time they lie about something. Every single time.
Keith, I try to do that. It's so much. There's so many lies.
There's just so much.
There's so many lies. We keep on doing it. I think we got to stick to our guns and present the evidence showing that, hey, here is what was said. Here is what the reality is. And again, you gotta have at some point agree on what the basis of fact is. And if you're going to say, well, it's a statistical number from the BLS, or if it's FEMA saying that, I mean, if you can't just believe them once in a while, or you can't just believe them only when it fits your narrative. You can't just love your country and believe in the sanctity of democratic elections only when you win. So I think we need to keep we need to set the framework for what the reality is, and those that are going to engage with us, we need to hold them to that standard. The same thing you would do when you're jawboning with some dude at the bar next to you about the ball game. The same expectations you would have with an employee. The same expectations you would have with the boss, with a supervisor. You cannot run a company. You cannot be in a relationship. You cannot confer with folks who simply refuse to accept or agree on what the definition of a frickin' word is. We got lots of callers. I want to get to you. And I see you sitting there, Gary. You stick around. I want to hear what you have to say. 855-752-4842. I want to hear what all of you have to say. Eric Hovde. Man, this guy is apparently a whole lot closer in his race with Tammy Baldwin than he should be. And I don't know how the hell that could possibly be, given just the most recent headlines. Folks, come back with us, taking your calls. 855-75-CIVIC.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Designer suits, Gucci gloves, Chelsea boots. All my demons are cocaine-fueled electrical. Sugar tooth, caramel, silky smooth, diving into Class A's old swimming pool.
Yeah, welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Gonna get back to the lines in just a moment. The aforementioned wannabe senator, super rich guy, taking in those millions from the Mexican bank. Don't worry, it's all totally cool. Making the rounds on the headlines in the last couple of days. And he was in Milwaukee today. He was speaking to the Milwaukee Press Club and the Rotary Club of Milwaukee, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. A little bit about what he said, then to the phones, 855-75-CIVIC. Hovde weighed in on a range of topics, from his major campaign issues like national debt and immigration to climate change and virtual fertilization, and accepting the results of the November election. Oh, that's a good one. I wonder if he was asked if Trump won the last election. Hovde cited government spending as rising 40% since before the pandemic, and said he would like to pull those levels right back again to 2019 levels before the coronavirus pandemic ravaged the economy. Now, he did not detail where he would like to see those cuts, including whether they would include defense spending, rather saying the U.S. has to create, quote-unquote, pro-growth policies, citing deregulations and welfare reform.
Right.
I mean, right? It's just like, pick your conservative talking point off the shelf, put it behind your mustache in your mouth, and spit it out. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. In a local radio interview last week, Hovde said he'd like to pull all government programs back to 2019 levels. That's 5 years ago. Wasn't there inflation in the last 5 years? Now, Hovde rejected Democratic claims that he would seek to cut Social Security benefits. He said he does not want to take older people's Social Security away, but he did propose raising the age to receive benefits for people under the age of 40. How do you feel about that, Jess? Stick it to the kids. That's what I say.
Totally.
Stick it to them. Stick it to them. Because the reality of it is life expectancy is going to increase significantly. Well, that's kind of an assumption.
That's a big assumption without a lot backing it. We've already extended the life expectancy quite a bit.
Yep. Now, Wisconsin Democrats Tuesday said Hovde's proposal to scale back government spending to 2019 levels would mean huge cuts to Medicare, Social Security, veterans benefits, Medicaid, which helps pay for nursing homes for Wisconsin seniors.
Hovde's we know how he feels about people in nursing homes.
We do. No vote and no money for you. Let's just, live on the street and eat the cat food. Like the good old days, right? Hovde's plan is clear. He wants to cut benefits for seniors, roll back benefits for veterans, let insurance companies jack up drug prices on working Wisconsinites, Democrats wrote in a statement after the luncheon. Just a little bit more here. After asked about former President Donald Trump's plans for mass deportations, he did not explicitly comment on the idea, but said, you start with anybody who's been convicted of a criminal act either in this country or their former country, and you move down from there. Yeah. Great idea. Way to go, Sparky. He reiterated his support for IV fertilization. What else did he say? On climate change, he said, man is influencing climate. Woo! Really? Am I reading that right? Hovde said he thinks man is influencing climate and said he believes in good, clean energy propositions that are economical, noting he changed his past position opposing solar energy. Why would you oppose solar energy? And he pushed back.
I'm against breathing air.
No clean air for you. And pushed back on electric vehicle initiatives. He doubled down on debunked claims that FEMA's lacking money to respond. We played that for you. Here we go. Final quote. Asked if he would vote to certify the results of the election in November, Hovde responded, we have to stop every time one side loses an election saying the election was stolen. He attacked Democrats who raised questions about past elections and acknowledged Trump has disputed the 2020 results. Still, he cast doubts on the security of ballot drop boxes in Wisconsin, saying, I don't think that was a very constructive thing because all it does is tell 50% of Americans, they're trying to do something. If I lose, I lose, okay? Hovde said when asked about accepting election results. Now, if somebody said, hey, there's mass fraud, then of course I'm going to respond. So I'm not going to make a blanket statement about if some evidence is overwhelming. Well, of course, Eric Hovde, you know the game plan already. I'll lay it out for you in case you don't know. If Trump loses, he will say there was massive fraud. Let's just assume that's the baseline. And when I'm proven to be true, then the question will be, what do you do about it? Because just because someone says there's massive fraud doesn't mean there is massive fraud. You see how that works? Come on, people, do better. 855-752-4842. You can be a part of this fine program. Gary, you're going to be next. Thank you for calling. Happy days, man. What do you got for us?
Well, is Maggie still there?
Nope, she's out. But you got me, baby.
She's gone. I know, that's fine. Because
thank you.
When I tape Maggie's show, I will never, ever call after she's just got done talking to CJ because she turns into a different woman. There's a sweet woman, then there's a devil woman. And she'll rip my head off.
Well, come on, only if it's deserved. And I don't know the difference. Maggie's just Maggie, baby. But what do you got? What do you got for me, man? Because Dom, I might tear your head off too, man. Come on, what do you got, Gary?
Hey, we're friends. First of all, I want to be going out to dinner, and I'm running out of money because the economy's taken a dump and the price of furnaces have gone way up. So nobody's buying furnaces anymore. So.
Well, the economy, hang on. When you say, Gary, I want to be very clear here. You say the economy is taking a dump. By what metric are you making that assessment?
No, the price of furnaces have gone up 40%.
Okay, so you're in the HVAC business. Your cost of your material, your products, they have gone up. And where are you getting those furnaces from?
Believe it or not, it's the delivery people that are killing us the most. It's the price of the metal, the price of making it, the labor to make it and everything, but it's the deliveries that have just gone sky high.
Oh, just go pick it up, man. What's the problem?
It's terrible. It's terrible. So
so how is the delivery cost Kamala Harris's fault?
It's the price of these Teamsters. They want more money. The price of the fuel is costing more money. Hey, wait.
The price of fuel is under $3. Come on, man. Listen.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I owe you lunch or dinner or whatever.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
If you don't want to take it,
I do. Are drinks included? Fine. I just want to be clear.
I pay for whatever you want to eat. I'm bringing $100, and whatever we spend is what we spend. We run out of money, then and I pay for the tip. Okay, but the reason I called isn't because of that. It's can't we all just get along? That's what I want to know.
I think we can, Gary. I think you and I are a perfect example of that.
Yeah, we are, But the fact is, the truth is whatever that person says is the truth. Whatever you say the truth is, it's what you say.
No, the truth is not subjective, Gary. Facts are not subjective, man. Is the sun out? Is the sun out right now, Gary? I'm here in wonderful, beautiful downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. I can see the sun out. You agree? Is the sun out, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, that's a fact. Right? We agree the sun is out right now, Gary. So we agree on that. Now, if someone were to say to me right now, Gary, the sun is not out. In fact, it's raining. That would not be accurate. That would be a lie, right? We can agree on that. Yes?
So don't ask those questions. Let's talk about Eric Hovde.
Sure.
Did he say that old people in nursing homes don't have a right to vote, or they may not live, so it's not a big priority for them to vote? What is it?
His actual quote was not very articulate. Something about they wouldn't be there anyway. I mean, I can look it up, but yeah, that was the implication.
But if you listened to what you said 10 minutes ago, you said Eric Hovde says they don't have a right to vote. Now, I don't know if that slipped out of your mouth accidentally, and then the thing about Trump when he says there's going to be a bloodbath. Now, what did he mean?
Okay, here's the quote. Here's what Eric Hovde said. Almost nobody in a nursing home is at a point in life where they're capable of voting.
Yeah, and they don't care to vote.
No. Hey, that's not for you to decide, dude. Gary, that's up for the person in the nursing home to decide. It's certainly not for a political candidate for the U.S. Senate out of the state of Wisconsin saying that no one in a nursing home is capable of voting. Come on, that's a terrible thing to say. My mother's in a nursing home, dude. You're tell me that she can't vote if she doesn't want to?
For 35 years, I volunteered in a nursing home. Nursing home people just don't care enough that they want
I'm not
to
going to do a broad brush like that, dude, and nor should you, and nor should Eric Hovde. His point is that they're not capable of it. No one in a nursing home is at a point in life where they're capable of voting. No. Do you agree with that statement? Do you think that is an accurate statement?
No, that's not, because there are some people that have Alzheimer's and there are some people that just can't get out of bed and their minds are fine. No, they just don't care to vote. It's not that they don't deserve to vote and they shouldn't vote. They just don't give a rat's rear end to vote. And that's the truth.
Well, but it's not the truth. It might be truth for one individual and not another. That's why you don't broad brush and say that, because that's what he said is almost nobody in a nursing home. I'm assuming that means what, 99% of people in the nursing home, according to Eric Hovde, are not capable of voting?
All right, we're not going to agree on that, but let's go to Trump.
Okay.
When Trump said there's going to be a bloodbath if he does not elect it. You know what he was talking about. He's talking about the
I don't know. He said bloodbath a few times. Let's stay on topic here, Gary. Let's be on topic. I want to throw this one out there. So Hovde said FEMA is out of money, right? And the agency used the money to assist illegal immigrants. Now, according to PolitiFact, that's false. FEMA has debunked the claims, which have been spread by Trump and other conservatives. FEMA says it has enough money to meet its current needs, but could run out by the end of the hurricane season. And while FEMA administers a program that helps migrants, that funding is separate funding, Gary. That's separate from disaster relief. Money from the disaster relief fund is not being diverted, the agency says. So PolitiFact says false. The agency, I just told you what the agency says. Hovde said it's happening. Hovde says, can you believe what's happening? Hovde wants you to spread that, to retweet his video, Gary. Should I accept that as accurate and true, or do you accept that as accurate and true?
I'm going by what Mayorkas said last Wednesday, and he said, we're running out of money, and we're not going to make it through this season. And that's what he said. Now,
But
where the
that's
money
that's
is gone
hang
to,
on,
I
no,
don't
no.
know. I
Where
don't
the money
know.
has gone to, Gary's gone to hurricane relief. Man, they're using the money on what it's supposed to be used for. A separate funding mechanism for the migrants. It's a different thing, man. So don't fall for that. If you agree with that, because I just said FEMA just said it. They just did it. They acknowledged that they could run out of the hurricane relief money because there's lots of hurricanes hitting, man. That could happen. But that's got absolutely zero to do with their other program and the other funding source for helping migrants.
Right.
Do you agree with what I just said?
I don't know what the truth is.
Now, come on, man. Come on. Based on what? Based on what? How do you determine the truth then, man? You just said you believe what Majorca said. I just reaffirmed it from FEMA. You got the PolitiFact. You got Republican senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, saying this is bunk. You got DeSantis saying that he's fine with the federal government's effort. They're happy with it. You got all sorts of Republicans saying this, man. How is this even a conversation, Gary?
I heard DeSantis this morning on Fox when he was on live in Fox, and he's pissed because things are not running the way they're supposed to be running, and FEMA is not cooperating with them, and they're not hearing from FEMA. And all sorts of, I'm just telling you what I hear.
Really, dude? Really? Is that what you're hearing, Gary? Because I just laid it out for you, and you still... Can you say for me right now, Gary? Right. Can you say for me right now, based on all the evidence I presented to you, and you could, if your Google works, man, you could find it yourself, that FEMA is not diverting money for hurricane relief efforts in Florida and North Carolina, other places that were hit by Helene, and certainly will be hit by Milton, that they're not pulling money out and giving it to illegal immigrants. Can you accept that and say, yes, that's not happening?
I'm not saying they're pulling it out now. I'm
but they might do it in the future. Come on, man. Hey, Gary, I appreciate you calling, man. You know, you're right. I will get back to you because you do owe me some dinner, especially after that. But I got to have a couple of drinks, man. I guess I'll have to buy my own, but I want dessert. Folks, this is the Dom Salvia Show. You can be a part, 855-752-4842. Lightning round. When we come back, Mark Becker at the 5 o'clock hour, host of Rational Revolution. Stick around. We'll take your calls next. And welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842. It's a phone line. It is a text line, and we have a couple of those out there. We'll get to a few of them. Are the phone lines jammed? Yes, Todd, but I see we will get to you. Thank you. Cam mentions, just like you offered to get Dom dinner, you aren't using your furnace money to buy that dinner, just like FEMA isn't using hurricane money for immigrants. Get your head out of the vent. Stop eating asbestos. Take your meds. And then other folks are wondering, who's replacing furnaces in summer? Well, it's not summer. It's October. Let's see. Dick from, Matt. Pretty selfish thinking, Gary. I know people in nursing homes that are voting because they care about the future of their grandchildren. I say stick it to the kids. CNN from 11 o'clock last night, Gary, found this one. I'm going to say it for you. Governor DeSantis said he was thankful to Biden for approving everything they needed thus far, adding that if they need additional help, he will not hesitate to give them a call. Quote, we want to use whatever resources are available to be able to help Floridians prepare and respond to this storm. But everything we've asked for from President Biden, he has approved. And we do think we'll get more approvals for some of the individual assistance and the debris removal after landfall. Again, this is for the Milton. So, I mean, there you go. Come on, man. If you don't believe me, you don't believe Biden, don't believe FEMA, do you believe DeSantis? Do you believe Tillis of Republicans? I mean, I guess not, because eventually when you decide not to believe them, well, then they're just coffee boys and rhinos. If they're telling you things you don't want to hear. And that's just not going to fly around here, man. 855-752-4842. Joe from Madison, you're up. Welcome. What do you got for us?
Kind of a stretch between Gary and reality. It's unfortunate. I mean, you could take a dump load of reality and dump it out, and he's not going to recognize it.
Just keep trying, Joe. Keep trying.
DeSantis said, yeah, we're really happy. No problems here. I would take Mr. DeSantis' As governor, I would take his view on that. 2 points that I wanted to mention on subject you brought up. Number one, in terms of Hovde and this bank activity that he had in Mexico. The bank in Mexico is called Banca Azteca. Very few, only 3 banks in the United States presently will take deposits from that particular bank because of problems with their adhering to regulations. And these other banks in America don't want to be smeared or slimed by it. So only 3 banks in America will take deposits. And understand that these deposits happened in December of 2023, and in February of 2024, Mr. Hovde announces his Senate campaign. Interesting timeline.
Indeed.
Other interesting point is it was $26 million that was transported in the month of December 2023 in 4 separate plane trips, cash in 4 separate plane trips from Mexico to Hovde's bank in California. This is highly irregular. People use the SWIFT system. They use electronics. They don't carry it aboard a plane in cash, for God's sakes. It should set off alarms, and I have a feeling that people may be looking at that, but we aren't going to find that out anytime soon. The last thing I wanted to mention, Dom, was you and Maggie had this kind of startling bit that you had about the number of rural suicides, and that was an area that was of much deeper concern than trans people and suicide. Here is a little stat for anybody who wants to look it up. It is heartbreaking. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the date on it is October 26, 2023. The title of the article is Gun Deaths Are Rising in Wisconsin. Suicide and rural areas are a big part of the picture. What astounded me was a graphic that they had in it. And the title of the graphic was Wisconsin counties with the highest gun death rates per 100,000. Okay, where you might think it'd be Milwaukee, right? But if you include suicide, the top counties are Iron County, Menominee, Jackson, Forest, Burnett, Washburn. You have 6 counties with deaths per 100,000 that have a higher rate of gun deaths than county of Milwaukee. I find that amazing. Something is going on very dreadful with in our rural counties with suicide. And boy, we need to all start looking at that. That just broke my heart. That is absolutely appalling. So at any rate, just wanted to throw that in. I know you're busy, so thanks for everything, Dom.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, for bringing that up. And those, I was shocked at some of those statistics in talking about the lies again that Hovde was spreading regarding trans suicides. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. 855-752-4842. LA Tom tells you, man, we got you, baby. What's up? How you doing?
Well, first off, of course, we, the people, ultimately are the government, and we're going to show that with the election coming up in November. Start voting now. Get your ballots in now. You never know what the weather will be like. It's really important to get out the vote right now. Also, if the Republicans are spewing it, you can bet they're doing it. Just keep on repeating that and let people know, because that's exactly what they're about. And I want to say I really like Gary over the years. You know, I feel like he's a phone a friend. And I just want him to be someone that doesn't get egg on his face and be made a fool of. Donald Trump, you know, in his rallies, which I'm sure Gary knows inside and out, you know, talks about the snake. And talks about the snake that basically, you know, he's talking about himself. So you MAGAs out there, he's telling you, he's confessing to you what he would do. And if you think that he's not going to come after you, I think Gary's even a Jewish guy. And I think Trump even said something the other day about how he hates the Jews. So I don't know where it is that these guys are. It's either Gary or David. I don't know. They sound so much alike. I think they're brothers.
Well, I would say this. I mean, I'm not clear, and thank you for the call, Tom. Always appreciate hearing from you. Not clear that Donald Trump said he hates the Jews. That'd be pretty.
It's just his actions that do that.
Right. Because you know what? He really, really loves the ones that vote for him. Those are the good Jews versus, you know, the bad Jews. That's how he's playing this, and that's how he plays everything. And you're absolutely right. You know, I really hope my conservative friends don't get egg on your face, man. Don't believe what they're telling you. Critical thinking, man. Telling you, it's a great thing. Folks, this is the Dom Salvia Show. Come back with us. Mark Becker, he's the host of Rational Revolution, airing on Civic Media 2 to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. He's going to join me next.
The national news cycle never stops. but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.